this. Hold on, I'll get it. Surgical.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
I could. What's up, everybody? My name is Malachi Jones. Who I got here with me today?
Tommy Harris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all make sure y'all go follow me on both of my social medias, my TikTok and my Instagram at MalWorldWide with 2 E's. What's your social medias?
Young Tyler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all make sure y'all go follow the bro. Right now, you're listening to Powered by Christ Podcast Season 2, Episode 3 from MalWorldWide, also known as Malachi Jones. But the topic that he chose for today's podcast is
The power of the tongue.
the power of the tongue. And what led you to choose that topic?
Because I feel like, we all need to be encouraged and we all need to be speaking life into others.
Do you feel like there's not enough people who do that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not enough people doing it.
I feel like even in households, there's not enough people who do that. Like, you'll have father figures, or you'll have, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying in general, you'll have mother figures as well who won't speak life into their daughters, won't speak life into their sons, and then wonder why they carry themselves so drained and depressed and Christless. That's what I feel like I had to say on that. But without further ado, I'm gonna get to my first verse. And my first verse comes specifically from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29. And it says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, so that it may benefit those who listen." Okay, and I'm gonna explain what I feel like that means to me. I feel like that means as a Christian, just as a Christian in general, some people are farther in their walks, and some people are just starting, some people are in the middle. Some people are devout Christians and some people are just regular Christians. I'm not saying you're a regular person, but I'm just saying you're not devout like as how some other Christians are. But for every single Christian in general, what this verse right here in Ephesians is implying is that everything we say that comes out of our mouth should be uplifting. It should be nourishment to other people's souls, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It should be helpful to everybody who's hearing you. It should be beneficial to everyone who's around you. And if nobody's around you, it should be beneficial to God.
Absolutely.
Because one thing for sure, when you're not around people, there's one man who hears everything you say.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even have to be praying.
Nope.
He still hears everything
He
you
hears
say.
every word.
Every word you say. So you may see what you say when you're by yourself. Even if you weren't praying, you may see that come to pass in your real life. Like, if you say something hugely negative, like, "Oh man, I should have never hung out with this person. This person is a fool," or "This person is," calling that person out of their name when they're not around you or you're not around them. You may see something bad in your life come to pass because you spoke negative. You may see something bad in their life come to pass because you spoke negatively about them. But you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So there's power in everything you say. But Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29 is implying that let everything that we say be beneficial. Let everything that we say be uplifting because everybody needs to hear it. So that's what I feel like I got out of that verse.
I feel like, from what you said, we should be, encouraging others to, uplift them.
Encouraging others to uplift who?
Like others, like we should be doing this.
Oh, encouraging others just to uplift them.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And
Most definitely.
I also want to add this in there too. Like, you could be a Christian if you want to, but you also have to also act like one too. Like,
I feel like you phrased that where you could
actually no.
live like one.
Yeah.
Because if you act like something, you
my
putting
bad.
on. You're putting on like a fake disguise.
Yeah, so that's what I'm really trying to say is, like, you can also like act Christian, but you also have to live it too.
Right.
Like,
You have to walk in it.
absolutely.
That's what you're saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
and actions speak louder than words.
Every time.
So
That's
why,
for anything. Every
yeah.
time.
So that's why I always tell people, like, you can be a Christian if you want to, but you also have to act, show that,
Live how Christ lives.
Yes.
For sure. Because, like, if you was to always be saying something, I'm going to just use you for example. If you was to always be saying something to people, like, in a positive way, but you never follow through on it, then who would believe you?
Nobody.
How many people will believe you?
They won't.
Exactly, because you
They
will
won't.
never follow
They
through.
won't.
So be similar to God in his ways. I can't say be like God because we'll never be like God, or we'll never be God himself, but take away from his attributes, and when you take away from his attributes, apply them. And I know that we've never heard God's voice specifically in a talking manner. God's voice is acting. I don't even like the word acting. God's voice is more so showing than talking, because we've never heard how God's voice actually sounds. But what I'm implying though is that whenever we see moves from God in our lives, it's always good. So if God is talking to us, he's never actually like saying it with his voice.
Right.
Every time God talks to us, he's saying it with his actions. And his actions are always good. So in the same manner, even though whenever we talk or we're trying to get a good message across, our voice is to be heard. And our voice should be heard every single time. So that's really all I had to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You feel like you got anything to add to that?
Just one thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, like I hear Christ's voice like every day. And there be times where I really want to cry sometimes, but I'm like,
You mean like him showing up type voice?
yes, like I could legit hear like his voice, I could feel his presence. I'm like,
Okay.
So that's why I always carry my cross with me and everyone whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Is there like a certain example of like how he showed up in what you were just saying?
He shows up when I'm, going through it, cause we all go through stuff at some point in life,
Nobody can avoid it. That's nobody.
Like no one can really avoid it. So you just gotta, go to church, pray, and then find good people to pray with, and then also follow Christ.
Exactly. And that leads me to my second verse. I don't think this second verse really relates very heavily to what you said, but it definitely relates very heavily to the topic you chose. And my second verse specifically is Matthew 15, verse 11. And it says, "Not what goes into someone's mouth defiles them, but what comes out of their mouth, that is what defiles them." And I'm explaining what this means because this verse may be a little trippy. It may sound a little trippy.
That's deep.
It is deep.
That's deep.
It's more deep and
That's
profound than it comes off. And for me to explain it, I feel like it means, and also I'm gonna say this for clarity and for more clarification, for those who don't know what defiles means destroys. So if something defiles you, it means it destroys you. It hurts you, it harms you. So your words can defile others. Others' words can defile you. And I feel like this means it's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. So basically in this case, it's not what goes into your ears that's what defiles you. It's how you act on what you heard. It's how you act on what you saw. It's how you act on what people are saying to you is what defiles you. Like basically if you're in an argument, right? It's not what the other person is arguing to you about or arguing with you about that defiles you or destroys you. It's what you say back to that person that defiles you. What you say back to that person that destroys you. And what it means by saying it destroys you is that it destroys your image. Whenever you say bad words, whenever you say curse words, whenever you say negative words, it destroys your image as a person, ultimately as a Christian, as a believer. Because are we always supposed to be cursing and saying the wrong things as a Christian?
Nope, absolutely not.
And is that type of stuff going to defile us?
Yes.
Exactly.
But we also call that sinning.
That is a sin too.
That is one of, actually that's pretty.
A lot of people struggle with that.
They do. Like nowadays people really struggle with that the most.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important aspect as far as the power of the tongue? Do you think it's cursing, arguing, cyberbullying? Or no, cyberbullying doesn't really count because you're not really. Matter of fact, yeah, it does count because you can like post videos about somebody being far away from you.
There is a lot to say about the power of the tongue, because I talked to my pastor about it on Sunday, and he was like, you gotta be wise with words and to pretty much speak life over people. So when you see someone getting bullied online, that's when you're supposed to text them like, hey,
Or stick up for them.
Yeah.
Any type of way you can.
Oh yeah.
Like everybody don't have that. Like I was saying in the intro, like cyberbullying, it's still like you're still able to stick up for someone when you're cyberbullying, but it's harder to stick up in a better way because it's so long away. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like if someone was getting bullied and you were seeing it and they were right here in person, you probably stick up by stepping in physically.
Yeah, physically.
But you can't do the same thing being cyberbullied.
I mean, at the same time, you probably could though.
Step in physically?
Cause you don't have to be physically, the
right there.
Yeah, but you can always like reach out to that person, like, hey, that was wrong for what you did.
Yeah, definitely. Like, be a verbal leader. That's what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Be a verbal leader.
But you also have to be both though. You have to be physical and also, virtual.
And then know what you're trying to imply.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's very important for sure. And right before I get into my last verse comes from Proverbs. And I know a lot of your verses came from Proverbs too.
It did.
But right before I get into my last verse, I call this the real segment of the podcast. I'm gonna start doing this every single podcast episode. It's a new feature that I'm gonna implement into all my newer podcasts. And the real segment is basically I ask you this question: what has God delivered you from individually?
From the people that treated me wrong and they talked down on me. All they really did was speak death upon me. But look at me now. I'm alive and happy and
healthy too.
And healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not out here partying and whatnot. I'm either in church or at work and whatnot, and I always gotta motivate myself, which you know, we both know that God motivates me to keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why he is the reason why I can do anything in life now.
Do you feel like you're capable?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
That's the best feeling.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
the best feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
Best as a Christian too.
Oh yeah.
A Christian who feels like they're capable of doing everything, they forever have something to lean back on. Like you never run out of spiritual juice.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
You never run out of it.
No, absolutely not.
Do you feel like that's the hardest thing that you overcame?
There's definitely more that I did, you know, overcome. Which when I was 16, I had lost my mom back in 2019, which back then my head wasn't really right, so I didn't really know what to do.
Was it far from Christ at the time? Or?
I mean, I was trying to get closer.
So you were in the process?
Yeah, I was kind of like, you know.
In the early stages?
Yeah, but ever since, you know, she had died, I'm like, man, I'm actually closer to God.
Yeah.
Because when I had found out that she passed, I'm like, wow, I just had to, you know, step
Is it like
back.
a wake-up call in a way?
It did, because my mom, she was a strong Christian.
That's amazing.
Like, she would pray with us every day before school. She'll actually like legit like make me pray before leaving for school. I'm like, man, that encouraged me to follow Christ.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
like prayer relates so heavily, and I'm gonna let you get back to what you were saying after this, but prayer relates so heavily to the power of the tongue. Because when you hear anyone pray, you rarely ever hear a negative prayer. You rarely ever hear a prayer pulling someone down. Prayers are always uplifting. What else were you saying about your story? What God delivered you from?
He kind of, he did help me, you know, overcome that. And he also told me that, you know, she's better now with him because, you know, because my mom, she was going through so much pain. So he said, you know, it's time for her to come home. So she went home, and then after that, you know, he told me to follow him, follow his path, and don't stop.
Did it comfort you when that person told you that, like, she's home?
Like, once, because, like, the first time I actually did step foot in church after that, God had told me, like, you know, she's in, because he had told me that, you know, she's better now with him, because she has to do with no pain, no struggle, none of that. She's just happy as can be right now.
And I feel like that's very comforting, like, because I've lost people I'm close to in my life, but the closest person that I've ever lost in my life is my biological father. I was close with him, but I wasn't the closest with him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I'm more close with my stepfather than my biological father, but that doesn't mean I didn't love my biological father.
Right.
And he died because he had a heart attack. He was behind the wheel driving. He had a heart attack and his heart just failed.
Man.
And, like, anybody being in first point of view position, you would have just blacked out.
Yeah.
And it was on a train track. And the person in front of him that was on the train tracks, I remember it being told to me, that person got out. Then they went to go open the door and it was locked. That person called the cops and the ambulance. They showed up, they figured out a way to unlock the door. But they saw he was lifeless. They tried to take him to the hospital and everything. And once he was in the hospital, they tried to wake him up. They tried to do everything they could to revive him.
Right.
And they couldn't do anything. But he had just passed away. It was 2022. I remember like it was December of 2022.
Man.
Yeah, passed. His heart failed. But I do remember some of the stuff he taught me. He said some quotes of his own when he was here, but then he also said a lot of quotes that he heard from people that were wiser than him and people that like brought him up. Right. So I kind of took some quotes from him, but it was more so, I feel like the most quotes I ever got though was from my mom though. Like she gave me the most.
Yeah.
I feel like mother and father role, they're both strong. Some people may say they're equally strong. I feel like mother role has this just like a super slight edge.
Yeah.
On the father role as far as like the power of the tongue. Like a man who's close with both of his parents, I feel like he'll most likely feel more sentimental about the words that his mom said than the words that his dad said.
Oh yeah.
So that's all I gotta say on that. You got anything to add to that?
No sir.
And that's really all I felt. And then adding more on what you said about like your story, how like your mom had passed and stuff. I'm sure she did a lot of encouragement when she was still here and stuff like that.
Almost there she did. She did online school and she went to work and she was making sure that, you know, me and my siblings was straight and whatnot. She cooked dinner.
So basically everything she could do.
pretty much.
I feel like a parent who's not doing everything they should do, I'm not gonna condemn that parent, but you know they could do more.
Right.
But you can't be more proud of a parent who does everything that they can as the child point of view. But just adding on to what you said about your story, I remember like just elementary school. Like my mom, every time she would drop me off, she would always speak words of life into me and just energize me. Just energize me like throughout my day to just have a great day and just have a blessed day. She would always just speak life into me and stuff like that.
Same here, my always do. My both do the same.
Like middle school and elementary school, those are memorable, but I gotta say high school is the most memorable in terms of the power of the tongue. Because, and I say that specifically because whenever I was in high school, I remember like every single day I would go to school in person. I remember when COVID hit, so I barely had a freshman year. I had half of a freshman year in person because COVID.
Man.
But then the rest of high school, sophomore, junior, senior, I went in person. But I remember all the time I went in person from the second half of my freshman year all the way to the end of my senior year. My mom would always say this one thing specifically to me. And she would tell me, in terms of the power of the tongue, she would tell me, she'd be like, son, you're not average, you're exceptional. Remember who you are and whose you are and shine.
Ooh. And
that just make you feel good for the rest of your day.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Because you have some parents who don't even tell their children anything before they go.
They really don't. Like nowadays, like you said earlier, like parents nowadays, they don't do that no more.
Exactly. And if you don't hear nothing before you go off, you have to go back home to the same parents who didn't tell you nothing before you went off. And you may not even hear no more words of affirmation for the rest of the day.
Absolutely not. Not until maybe the next day, probably week at that.
Exactly. Like, you got some parents that don't even do that at all. So comment down below, you watching or you listening, you let me know if someone that you're close to, speaks words of affirmation into you and congratulates you or thanks you for big things that you do. The power of the tongue definitely relates to that.
And I also want to add this too. If y'all do have any questions, just type in the comments
or you can DM me.
Yeah, DM us,
Don't tell me on Instagram again?
Young Toddler. He'll definitely send y'all my stuff.
Link in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube and listening to this on YouTube, link in the description. If you're on Spotify podcast or listening to me from a different location, then y'all just DM me on Instagram at MalWorldWide with 2 E's.
Because the reason why I had to add that on there was because I know some of y'all out there are actually going through that. Right. That's why I had to say it. Hey, if y'all need, comfort, reassurance, or whatnot, we got you.
Exactly. And I find it so comforting not just to be the role in people's lives in terms of the power of the tongue,
but to also inspire them to fire them to actually know Christ.
Exactly. That's the most important.
That is definitely my goal right now. Is to pretty much inspire people to chase their dreams and to follow Christ.
Exactly, because Christ will ultimately, he will lead you to a point in your life where your hands are on your dreams. This is your dream right here in the palm of your hand. Your hands are on it. But you can't do that without Christ.
You cannot.
You can't. And I didn't get to finish my thought I was saying earlier, but I feel like it's so important to be the role in people's lives that they never had.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you gotta be like the stepbrother or the stepdad or something like that. I'm not even saying you gotta be that. I'm talking about a spiritual role. Like mentor, god brother, god sister, you know what I'm saying? Or it can be something as simple as just you go to school with that person and every time you see them, you speak life into them because they look like they have a rough situation going on that you can't see.
And also, if you can't speak life into them, pray for them. Because a lot of people nowadays need prayer.
And some people, like how you said, if you can't speak life into them, some people are so closed off to where you can't even approach them.
Yeah,
and that gives off a bad mood.
It does.
So from receiving that bad mood, pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for people that you feel that you can't approach. Not because they don't like you, but because they don't like the situation they're going through. Ooh, wow. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Hold on, I'm getting surgical, man.
Oh, I like that.
I'm getting critical on this, man.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Man. Don't let what I just said go over any of y'all's head. Let that stick with y'all in y'all soul.
He cooked with that, right?
I could.
That was smooth, though.
Yeah, that was smooth.
That was smooth.
To that
same time.
But I had one more verse, and it's the last verse I'm gonna say. My verse came from Proverbs. It comes specifically from Proverbs chapter 12, verses 18 through 19. And I think he got this verse too. He just had a different version. My verse says, "Words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment."
Ooh.
And what I feel like this means to me is that somebody who is negative and who's talking to you, all their words are like swords. Yeah. All their words are cutting you like swords because they may not make you physically bleed, but they'll make you spiritually bleed, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And everybody who speaks their opinion over your life does not have your best interest.
They really don't. They
don't have your best interest at heart. Like everybody who, not even everybody who sounds professional. They don't, I'm not gonna say they don't know what they're talking about, but they may not know God.
Yeah.
Everybody who sounds professional may not even be professional. Simple as that, like just breaking it down. And when it says, truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. If you speak the truth, over time, you're going to build a greater and greater and greater reputation of yourself.
Correct.
People are going to believe everything you say. Well, not everything you say, but people are going to believe more and more and more of what you say because you have truthful lips.
Right.
But if you lie, you know, you may get away with it 2 or 3 times. Like, after the 3rd time, people going to know that you lying. People going to feel that you lying. People going to see that you lying. And after you done built a greater and greater and greater reputation of lying, who going to believe you then?
Absolutely nobody.
Exactly.
No one's going to. No one's going to believe it.
It's just gonna be you and Casper believe.
Pretty much. But I also want to ask you this question.
What's up?
How do you handle people that judge, but they don't know you? Like, they know of you, but they don't know you. Like, they don't.
Basically, like people who think they know me.
Yeah, but they also judge though too.
In a negative way.
Yes. Like how do you actually respond to that? Because I'm going through that right now.
Oh, good thing you said that. I've rarely ever been through that. The most that ever happened to me was in high school, because you know people just say whatever about you because you're doing big things.
Right.
But how I respond to that specifically is I feel like I just pray for them. Just pray for them, because there's nothing that you can physically do to change that person. Like, you know, you can't physically change that person, right?
Right.
So who can change that person?
God.
Exactly.
So that's why I just
pray for him.
Because now I come to a point where in life it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it to God and just let him handle it.
Exactly. Because you can't change a person's heart. You can't change a person's soul. You can't change a person's mind. You can't change how they act.
You really can't.
You can't change how they eat, sleep, whatever the case may be. Anything in their life you can't change.
None of that.
So most you can do, pray for them. Because you're gonna look crazy and you're gonna waste your time and waste your sleep trying to change somebody and be drained from it.
I agree.
So it's how I deal with like people trying to judge me. Like, just pray. I just pray for you. Like, if you judging me, you may not be judging me listening to me right now, but if you were to, I just pray for you because I can't change you. So
yeah,
that's how I look at it.
I like that. And for my last verse, Proverbs 18:21 states, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit."
What do you think that means?
That means speak life into people. And I can tell you this too. So a prophet once told me to pretty much kill that flesh. So you're actually feeding that flesh to speak death onto people.
That was too profound for me to understand. Like, break it down a little bit.
So I'm trying to break it down like he did, because when he did it, it actually hit me deep. So whatever negativity that is going on, like right now, you're actually feeding that flesh.
Are you saying by entertaining it?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you're gonna do is, once you do feel that, you're supposed to kill that flesh.
I used to think so literal when I heard people say kill your flesh. I used to think it literally meant kill your flesh. But now I understand, as I grow more in my walk, I understand that it means to spiritually kill your flesh. Like, I feel like, let me know if you perceive it the same, but I feel like kill your flesh means just stop entertaining it. Cut off every single way of entertaining it.
Yes, but also when I add on to that, the reason why the prophet had spoke that onto me, I'm like, man, like the stuff that I'm doing and whatnot, and I'm actually giving people time to actually, like, you know, for example, make me mad or angry or whatnot.
You giving them your power too.
That too, and I'm also, on top of that, feeding my flesh by, so that's why I like that sin from him. He said, he pretty much told me, kill that flesh.
Right.
Like,
I see what your pastor said.
Like, if y'all have any, like, no struggles or whatnot that y'all actually going through or something like that, kill that flesh.
And it doesn't just have to be addictions either.
I mean, addictions too, you're supposed to kill that flesh because you're actually feeding
the
flesh.
What I meant by when I say it doesn't just have to be addictions,
it can be hobbies.
Exactly. Meaning it could be a wide variety. That's what I meant. It can mean like part of your flesh is, letting negative words always slip out of your mouth.
Yeah.
That's something you need to work on. Part of killing your flesh is, always eating junk food, always eating crazy. That's something you need to work on. The other part of killing your flesh is, entertaining your literal flesh. Something you need to cut out.
And also what I don't do is, like, if something is stopping you from pretty much going to church, kill that flesh.
Exactly.
And step foot into church.
And this the last thing I'm gonna say right here. I don't know if you know that quote or not, but you know how what you just said, if something is stopping you from going to church?
Yeah.
There was a quote that said, you've probably seen it, you've most definitely seen it. It's a quote that says, if something is stopping you from praying, then pray because something is. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, what's that one quote?
I forgot what it was.
I can't remember. Stay with me.
Because I also remember my granddad preaches this every single Sunday.
If something is stopping you from praying, then pray, because something is behind that factor of stopping you not to pray. That's not the exact quote, but it's right along the lines.
Oh yeah.
It's right along the lines. And I'm gonna put the quote right here. If you watching this visually, I'm gonna put the quote right here. So y'all make sure y'all read that quote, because it stuck out to me.
Oh yeah.
That quote definitely hit different.
But that prophet, he just was going crazy. He was just nonstop speaking life over everybody in that church. Now, I kid you not, everybody in that church got saved.
It's a blessing. That's a miracle.
There's literally not one person that did not get saved. Like everybody got saved. Like he doesn't even have to know you, and he'll still figure it out. He'll still pray over that.
Okay, this is the real last thing I'm gonna say. Like adding to the topic you said. Have you ever seen The Chosen?
Oh yeah.
You think that's a good movie?
I was crying to that.
Have you seen The Passion of the Christ?
I have not.
You gotta see that. They're making a new one sometime soon.
I gotta watch
It's either releasing this year or next year, but next year guaranteed if it don't release this year. But that wasn't my point. My point was I was watching The Chosen one time. I was watching it on Netflix, and there's a point in the movie in The Chosen when Christ was in the church and he saw a woman who was going through something. She looked like she was going through something, and he literally said to the woman, "Are you going through this specifically?" You remember that scene?
Yes.
And then she was like, "Yes, I'm going through this specifically." And the woman didn't even tell Christ. He just knew. Exactly.
That's
like he was far away. He was on the other side of the room, and he knew the woman on the other side of the room was going through exactly that.
So people also realize, you don't have to tell Christ what you're actually going through, because guess what? He already knows. He already knows about it. Like he already has a plan to fix that, to cure it.
And if you didn't know, tears are a prayer too. Like when you trying to pray, this happened to everybody at least once in their life. When you trying to pray and you crying so much and you don't even know what to say, the tears are a prayer too.
Oh yeah.
They equate to words. That's really all I gotta say on that.
Same here.
You got anything else you need to say?
No, sir.
Well, that's the end of this podcast. You just tuned in to Powered by Christ Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for more. I'm going to try and release new podcasts every single week. I'm not saying every single podcast that I'm going to release every single week is going to have a guest in it, but I'm going to stay on top of my consistency like I told you. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. New song is out now called I Gotta Keep Going, featuring my boy, NLH Mancini. It means never lose hope. But y'all go stream my song, y'all go share my song, y'all go post my song.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment right now in the comment section. You feel me?
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment right now. And when you're listening to my new song, tag me so I can repost you. And one more thing, my new album is coming out later this year in 2 months. No exact date yet, but my new album is coming out in 2 more months. TBTV, the abbreviation for the album. TBTV. That's the initials for my new album. This is going to be a 15-song project that I put out. It's coming out in 2 more months with a live album cover. It's coming everywhere. Y'all stay tuned. It's your boy Malachi Jones, a.k.a. MalWorldWide.
It's Tommy Harris, a.k.a. Young Toggle.
That's all I got to say. Peace out. Appreciate you tuning in.
I gotta keep going. And if God on my side, I'll keep blowing. It's storming in the ride, but I'll keep rolling. My wind's still on the bike, so I'll keep rolling. Yeah, I've been knocked down before, God picked me up, so I gotta keep going. They threw dirt on my name, but God cleaned it up, so I gotta keep going. Never thought he had his hands on me, God told me hold on.